So I'm looking here and it looks like we're still short on a quorum. That's why I haven't come on yet, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we will get a quorum today. We had a couple people who said that they couldn't make it, so I'm just gonna
Well, we're
wait.
real close already. We are at four. Um,
Trina's not going to make it, but John's here.
yeah, I mean, you've got your two. I'm just wondering if somebody from Sparks will show up. That'd make five. Is five
Hey,
quorum,
so
Mike?
this is Ross. I'm with City of Sparks. I know that
Okay.
Amber can't make the meeting. I think Rob is no longer fulfilling the utility manager role, so I don't know that I'm formally on the committee, but I think it is Amber's intent for me to fulfill for City of Sparks, at least in the future. I don't know if that counts for today.
I have to ask Michael if you guys send us over an email.
I'll ask
Um,
her to do that. Thank you.
Mike, what is your take on that? Mike Wolves?
no, it's okay. I'll be back in a second.
Is he there or
He just came back.
okay. Mike, are you there now?
Yes, I am.
So we have a situation where we're between four and five people, and Sparks, they couldn't meet. Amber couldn't make it, and Rob is doing a different role, and so they're bringing in Ross Baker to be one of their committee members, but they haven't formally done it yet. So
Yeah. So,
how we receive him depends on whether we have a quorum or not.
well, okay, so if we do not have a quorum, we can proceed. We just can't vote on anything, and it's not considered a public meeting. But you can still make the presentations if you
Okay.
want. If you
Well,
feel like you have key people who aren't here, then you
no,
know,
I think we're good.
yeah,
Especially with Reno and Sparks, and I've talked to the county, so I think we're good for proceeding. And there really is something, an important informational item that I should share with everybody. And
yeah,
many of the people on this line need to hear this.
yeah.
So,
I'd wait until, well, we're past starting time if the chair wishes to begin or the vice chair. Haven't looked at our list very closely to see who is here or who.
John, aren't you the vice chair?
John is vice chair, yeah.
You're muted, John.
Is
Or
that,
your mic.
you hear
There
me
you
now?
go.
We can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Yeah, it looks like I'm the vice chair. I don't see Janelle here, so it looks like I might be in charge of the meeting. So I think we could probably wait a few minutes, like wait for maybe till
Janelle is not coming.
okay.
Janelle isn't coming. Chris Bronzick just messaged me and said that he has to do a meeting with the fire department and can't make it.
Mm.
So we may not have quorum today. We're at five if you count Ross. Um, and I believe quorum is six, Michael.
Yeah, we have nine. I think quorum is five.
Yeah, quorum is five. And like I said, we just can't vote on anything, but there are a couple informational items that are very important.
Right. So I would suggest you go ahead and open the meeting. We will note for the record that we do not have a quorum at the beginning of the meeting. So we cannot take action to approve the agenda or to approve the draft minutes. But we can do announcements and go into the other presentations.
Oh, we just got Rob beat art, so we're probably good.
We do have a quorum now.
Okay.
Michael, does Ross Baker count for the quorum? No.
No, we can only have someone in the quorum. We have to have notification that they're officially appointed. We can't just
Okay,
substitute someone in. So,
gotcha. Well, then I think we can go ahead and open. We have five.
Okay, well, I'll start off the meeting. So we'll open the Truckee River Flood Management Authority TAC meeting for Friday, July 31st, 2026. It is 10:06. I will start out with a roll call. I don't know, Mike, do you do that? Who does the roll call?
I do it.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right. Janelle Thomas, Chris Bronzick, Rob Beadart,
Here.
Ashley Elson. No, he's with Washoe. Trina Magoon, Mary Horvath,
Present.
Donna Noel, Zachary Carter, Donnie Gilman, Robert Weimer, Amber Sosa, John Simpson,
Here.
Amira Morrow,
Here.
Chris Fritzen, Kathy Canfield.
Here.
All right, you have 5 people and a quorum. Can proceed.
Great. I might turn it over to Mike. I think he usually announces a way to communicate for the meeting, so
That is correct. If anyone wishes to participate in the meeting by phone, they may do so by dialing 1-253-215-8782. If they're unable to get into the meeting at that number, please call Mike Wolz at 775-813-1662. Thank you.
Okay. With that, we will move to item 2, public comment. During this period, any person is invited to comment on any topic regardless of whether it is listed on the agenda or not. Action may not be taken on this matter raised during the public comment period until the agenda item is opened or the matter is specifically listed on future agendas. Those who wish to comment on any of the items that have been listed on the agenda may, if they prefer, comment when that item has been opened for consideration by the board or before action is taken. So is there any public comment?
Seeing none.
Okay. I will close public comment and move to item 3, approval of the TAC agenda for Friday, July 31st, 2026.
I move to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second? Oh, Robert, second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to item 4, discussion and possible action to approve the draft minutes for the May 29th, 2026 TAC meeting. I'll open that for discussion.
Move to approve the TAC
I
meeting.
second.
I have a motion and a second. All those who are in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll close item 4 and move on to item 5, announcements from George Robeson, the executive director.
Yeah, I don't think I have any announcements beyond what I'm going to talk about today. Just to say that all 3 of the projects that were done in the spring and we got the contractors, they're all underway. They have all had kickoff meetings and they're all starting to do their data gathering phase in each of those. So some of it does have some field work, some of it is just basically gathering everything that they already have that's been produced and organizing it. So they're all in that phase right now, and we're scheduled monthly meetings now. With Tumwa, we do have Tumwa staff involved. With airport, we do have airport staff involved. And if anybody wants to be involved in the North Bank beyond, just our staff and the consulting, let me know, because I do know it's important for some entities in particular. And we are also continuing to reach out on with different stakeholders, which I don't really want to disclose in an announcement, but we're reaching out to stakeholders as well on these different projects to make sure that we're keeping them informed on it.
Thank you, George. We'll close that item and move on to item 6, presentation and update on the status of the Vistanero design agreement with Atkins, and I'll turn that over to you, George.
All right. On this one, I'm not going to give a presentation because it's just an update on where we're at. So the big task that we have done recently is value engineering, and they're trying to get this up to the 90% from 65%. So they're working on that, and they're making a lot of progress going through specifications, working on also like some of the plans on how to do plantings, how to do all the different tasks. So much more detail oriented. Value engineering is about some of the side roads and moving them around slightly to lower costs. And it does it. In one case, I think had about a $200,000 savings just by moving a road slightly. So we're working on stuff like that. Also remodeling, a lot of remodeling when we do these VEs. We want to see how it affects the hydraulics. So there is that. So everything on that side is moving along pretty well. We're pretty much on our schedule that we've given in the past. We're looking at probably being done with 100% by the end of the year, at least in draft form, and being able to go out to bid it just strictly on the basis of having a final design and bid materials early next year. So the other side of that is the permitting. Just briefly on permitting, I want to just be super brief on this. All materials that were asked for by the Corps, all questions that were done by the Corps have been submitted to the Corps. Everything is caught up. The ball is in the Corps' hands now. So they have everything that they have been asked for, except for one thing that we felt like we have dealt with, which is they wanted 90% specifications to approve, and normally they don't do that in a permitting landscape. So we are working on those specifications, but we're asking them to approve without the full-on 90% specifications in hand. They can obviously review those and ask us to condition those or change those, but we think that's a bit unreasonable. But everything else, everything has been cleared or answered. There's even an EA that our team produced. Danielle worked with the consultants who did that. There's a lot of work that's been done on historical analyses that have to be done. So we're trying to do the best we can with the permit. We're hoping that both of these things kind of get done about the same time so that we can move ahead early next year on a bid. That's where all this is heading. So I know I'm being a bit brief here, but does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Not seeing any. So that's all I really have to say about Vista Narrows. I just wanted to keep you updated that they are making progress, and we have made a lot of progress on the permitting as well.
Great. Thanks, George. I will close that item and move on to item 7, presentation discussion of debris flow that occurred on Friday, June 19th in the lower Truckee River Canyon. And I will let you take that on, George.
Okay, I'm going to share a screen for the presentation. You should be seeing a nasty debris flow in the middle of a river. Does everybody see that? Okay, good. Heads are nodding. Okay, so this is the debris flow. As it says in the title, as it said in the title that you read, it happened on June 19th as part of the flash flood. There was a small cell that had big impact that went through the Hidden Valley area up into those mountains, affected the canyon, and also affected Long Valley Creek pretty heavily. And this is one of the impacts that we have. And that is the full Truckee River where the shade is where the bank is. So it takes up roughly 2/3 to 3/4 of the channel width. It probably was more than that. If you look along this line here, you can see large boulders. Those were not there before. If you We'll see in other pictures that it was all just kind of flat there before. Now there's this all the way across. So it's one time this thing was all the way across, and I'll show that there was probably a dam that formed and then broke on this side. And so now it's still looks like this. And I was just there yesterday to double check it. I was going down to Wadsworth anyways. It looks exactly like this right now as well. Some of the fines have winnowed away in this area, but there's a large lag of large material that looks pretty stable. So that's what we have right now. Now the location of this is is downstream from, if you're familiar with Vista Narrows, and this is the area right at the end of development where there's the Peterbilt truck and the circle there. You can see the railroad bridge off in front. You can see it from the freeway. It's 0.3 miles downstream. It's this canyon that came in right here. And so this is the actual location of this. And so this is, point three to here, another point three, another point three, another point three, another point three, another point three. We're almost 2 miles or, 1.8 miles downstream of about where the Vista gauge is, right about there on that edge. So keep that in mind with the slides I'm going to show you. So the Vista Narrows gauge, the Vista gauge is there. This is where the debris flow is. So the highlights of this thing this is another view of it. You can see how this is what it used to look like all along here. Okay. When you get downstream of there, it looks like this again. But right along here, this is what this looks like. The estimated deposit, I went out there and took some measurements. They're not the greatest measurements in the world, but they are measurements. About 2,700 cubic yards of material from here to here. I'm not going to talk about all that area. It did cover the railroad tracks for 5-10 feet deep, and the railroad has already cleared that out. The estimated cost, I had a contractor look at that. I've looked at it. I came up with about 300,000. They came up with 430. A lot of that's got to do with there is a lot of train traffic along here that has to be dealt with, and dealing with the railroad in general. That made their costs go up. And that's a time and materials cost. The urgency, this is a key. The debris flow has raised the water level in the Meadows Pool and needs to be dealt with soon. And I'll get to how much it's raised the water and how much it might raise the water in a gigantic flood like the 97 flood, like exasperating a large flood and making it worse. The outline is, how much is this backed up? Well, I'll talk about. Will the deposit clear by itself? Working through the emergency designation, because I've been working with the state on this, and then the next steps to take on this issue that I'm trying to spearhead this, because I think it's very important to the city of Sparks, and it goes up Steamboat Creek, so it actually can affect the area up in southeast Reno, like Hidden Valley and those neighborhoods in there. So there's a lot going on here. So I wanted to show a couple of videos to familiarize with what's going on. I'm not sure. Would you guys want to see a video on this or not? Okay, let me go ahead and bring that up. What we did is we have a drone, and so let me pull that up real fast. Sorry. Yeah, you get to see all my ruminations here. Great. Okay. So where to go? Put it in the C drive. Put it on TRFMA, and this is the best way to do it. Okay, so the first video, I think, what did I say here? I said video of the debris deposit area. So this is the debris pan video. Is everybody seeing a video starting here? Okay. So as you see this, it really gives you an idea of the level of lift that this is causing on the water level. It looks like on site, I mean, it's hard to get this, I mean, without going out and surveying it, but it looks like about 4 feet at site. So it's raising the water level just upstream about 4 feet. So there's that one. Another one I wanted to show was working downstream to upstream. Okay, traveling upstream. Okay, here, this will show you how see how it's fairly normal, nothing really there. That's how the whole reach is, except for this spot now. And it gives you a better idea of the kind of lift this has, how much water it's backing up, or how high the water it's backing up. Okay, then the final one is really an interesting video too. It's going up the debris flow, and it gives you an idea of what exactly happened up there. So as you go up here, you can see it's kind of hard to see because it's all kind of faded out. That's a big deposit of what the railroad did to get rid of it. This is another deposit of what they had to do to get it off the tracks. Now, this is the actual debris flow, and this is a deposition area as it comes out on this fan. You can see it's coming. Here's a side flow and a fan. That's new material. As you go up it, this is the main stem, and you can see this is more of a transport reach. You can see how it's washed on the walls. That is a very characteristic transport reach. I used to do this kind of research in Oregon. I did the largest land-based study of debris flows. This is why I know all this stuff. But you can see all these washes, and this is all transport through here because the gradient's high enough. It all deposits down by the river. You can see more transport, and it goes up quite a ways as a transport reach, and I don't even think we got to the end of it as we went up. So obviously it's getting less and less, but you can see there's like side areas where there's overland flow and rilling along with debris with landslides. So anyways, so that's kind of what we got there. So that gives you some ideas of what's going on here. That must have been quite the sell to do all that. But anyways, I want to show you how much this thing backs up. So these are hand measurements or check measurements since August 2025. The one right, this is taken on June 22nd. And I actually saw the guy there doing it, and he's like, man, what's going on with this thing? It's way too high. And so he was actually on Steamboat seeing it and seeing the problem on Steamboat. This is from Vista Narrows, but he was there that day as well. So anyways, so it's right there. It went from 6.11 feet in May, which had more water, to 7.86 feet on June 22nd, where the water is about a third of what it was in May. So you're like, oh, that's interesting. But how much did it go up? I mean, was that how much it went up? No, unfortunately not. So here is right when it happened. This is the gauge at Vista Narrows, and you can see there's a potential 3 to 3.5 foot shift. The actual shift that was calculated from the work that was done on 622 by the USGS, minus 3.3 feet shift. That means it increased the water level at Vista Narrows, almost 3.5 feet. That is about 1.8 miles upstream. So a very, very large increase in stream level there. To see the next one here, I just wanted to say what happened. You can see this lift here where it's lifting it up and backing up the water more. And the next one here, this is actually a gauge downstream at Tracy. This is what happened on June 19th. So here's a peak flow coming through, okay? Then there's a massive drop and it goes below what it was before. Then it pops up again. What that tells me is this is initial peak flow. The river made a dam that dropped it radically quickly. Then that thing broke and it went back up again. Then it went back down again. So we probably had a dam and a dam break on the debris flow, which is not atypical for this sort of phenomena. Like what I've seen in Oregon, for instance, I've seen this quite a bit. But, here in Nevada, that's pretty rare to have a debris flow that's that large that can do this to a gauge on a main stem river, but it did. So the idea is it's about a 3 to 3.5 foot rise at Vista Narrows. It's a considerable rise at the Steamboat lower gauge, and it probably has an effect all the way up to Miraloma. So that's what the extent of it is. Is there any questions about that? I'm going to get into the consequences of it here in a second. So the consequences are at a very large flow, it is not going to do 3.5 feet anymore. It will be a lesser effect, but there still will be effect. And the fact is, there is that huge wedge there. Some of that would winnow out during a large event. However, there is material, a lag material, some of it up to 3 and 4 foot of diameter. You can see it in the piles. You can see it in the water there. Some of that stuff is 2, 3, 4 feet in diameter. Considerable amount of it's 1 to 2 feet. A lot of it's embedded quite well, so I doubt that it's going to form bed load and go through in a large event. Is it possible it could? Yes. Is it probable? No. And so what could happen is we could have, like, say, a 2005 flood, and because of this, it's going to be 2 foot higher on those levees or berms and sparks, and it's going to be a foot higher, let's say, in Hidden Valley, and it turns the 2005 flood into something worse than the 1997 flood in those areas. That's the consequences of this. So this is serious. If we have a flood next year, it could make it a lot worse. That's the problem. So I have to transition into, I just already talked about that. I don't think it's going to clear by itself. And we are going to put this presentation up on our website for people to use if people want to understand the problem better. And we can provide the videos as needed, etc. So we understood that. And so the emergency work is what I want to get into next. It usually does not require a permit. And this is a really nice look at this to figure out, okay, what's the extent of this? How many yards would this take? So usually does not require a permit. This is unusual because there's a time lag from when the event happened to the possible consequential effect. So it happened in June. The consequential effect would likely be in December, January, February, March, if we have a large flood. So I'm working with the state water resources and state lands on dealing with this problem. I have had a contractor give an estimate, as I said in the highlights. They came out and looked at this. We talked about means and methods of how to get this out. There is a little softness in places, so we're talking about that issue. So we've looked at this, thought about what it would take, how long it would take. And we're talking about trying to get out there probably sometime in September to clear this out. But we have to make a lot of things happen before that happens because there's a pretty big cost on this. The state told me, and I, this is just what they have said. I'm not saying I want to do it this way or anything like that, but typically when something like this happens, they will, if nobody does something about it, they will go in, they will have a contractor take it out, and then they will back charge the jurisdiction. So jurisdiction A on the north side is Washoe County. Jurisdiction B on the south side is Story County. If it costs 440,000, that would be a $220,000 invoice to both. I am trying to not do it that way. I think we are the flood project. This is our Vista Narrows reach. And I've talked to our board. I haven't had a vote on this, but we are trying to look at this very carefully and figure out a way to get this done ourselves with the state helping us. So that's what we're moving on right now. So anyways, that's what we've done so far. We plan to have a talk about this at the FMA meeting, and I would like to have authorization to do this emergency work up to a certain amount. So we'll see how that goes at the FMA meeting. But the next steps are we're going to work on funding. We're going to need board approval. We may be able to do a direct contract because it's emergency, but we probably will have to go through a bid process. We would like to get the contractor on site by September. And we also have been discussing sediment dumping by other emergency workers. This right here, I know who did it. This abutment right here actually was facing the river and was clean. All this material is in the bank in the bed of the river. And this is a very critical, tight area right here with this bridge. So we are working with the state to, hey, you need to take this out. You have no, just because it's an emergency doesn't mean up here, doesn't mean you get to dump down here. So anyways, we're working on that too, because I don't know how much of this is causing a problem compared to the other. It's not as big of a deal as the other, but it's still a problem. So that's where we're at with this. So does anybody have any questions about this?
I do. So you think this material was dumped by the state because of the same event?
It wasn't dumped by the state.
Oh, who would have done it then? The railroad?
Choo choo. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know it is because I saw him do it.
Okay. All right. So they,
It
yeah,
was a
okay, right.
contractor working on the emergency work on the railroad tracks.
Gotcha.
Anyways, that's something else. I mean, because if when we do Vista Narrows, we have to maintain the configuration to make sure Vista Narrows works like it's supposed to in the future. And we shouldn't be changing the existing conditions like this willy-nilly, like this. This isn't okay. Because when we have Vista Narrows, it's all predicated on having a certain configuration. And even what we get now is predicated on having a certain morphology there. So if you mess around with the morphology, you can make the flooding worse. So anyways, there is that issue. Any other questions?
Yeah. Hey, George, what has been your communication with Story County and Washoe County, and are they interested in participating in the process funding for some of the stuff?
My communication is mostly, yeah, Kathy, I have not communicated with Story County on this yet. But I will say I have communicated with Washoe County, and they are not interested in doing the funding. They are interested in, they were trying to get this into an emergency and see how much this was costing. They want to know exactly what's going on because it could affect some properties that are in the county, especially up by Hidden Valley. So I've been talking with county engineering, county commissioners, that sort of thing. I've let my chair know. I've been working extensively with state. And before I and an apology to Kathy before she comes on. I really, or an explanation is more. I really wanted to have this my act together before I talked to Story County. So that's why I waited, uh, because a lot of things were going on. Uh, the thing is that my leadership is, my vice chair is the county commissioner in charge of the county commission. So I needed to do that. I had to do that. I talked to my chair and my vice chair, and then I had to talk to the engineering at Washoe. So Kathy, please.
Okay. No, thanks. We would love to start talking to you about some of this stuff. I've got a couple of things that we're doing because we had damage in our portion of the count Long Valley Creek, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I walked
We
that whole
have
thing too.
Yeah, we have JUB
Yeah.
Engineering doing an evaluation because they cleared off Canyon Way because the whole Canyon Way roadway got buried. So our Public Works Department cleared that off. But before they wanted to go into the actual channel, we wanted to know what we were doing, not just making a mess, relying on the guy that can operate the backhoe to do what it needs to be. We were lucky enough that it really didn't damage anything downstream by where our residential subdivisions or residential area is.
Yeah, it didn't get out, which was,
So it
yeah.
stayed like that. First, the last bridge up creek kind of held a lot of it back,
Mhm.
which ironically is one identified to be removed because it holds back all the runoff stuff too, which in our bigger design for that creek. But um, so we have some emergency identification work to do. We're not filing for anything with the state or anything. I don't think it rises to that level for that. But the creek itself is on the landfill site that's owned by Waste Management. So we are working with them on what those improvements will be and partnering with them on trying to do that cleanup. I'm curious to see, and again, if this was the railroad that dumped this, I have a contact person that from the railroad that was complaining to me about an erosion problem someplace else. So I would love to point this back out to them that it's not just, us impacting the railroad, but the railroad has impacted the lake back. So
Well,
this
the
is
interesting
wonderful
thing
to be
about
talking
this,
to
not to
you.
not to get too far with this, but it really is a state matter because the state owns the bed and banks of the river. So they just dump sediment in their river. So that's who I'm trying to work through, with the
Well,
state.
the other thing I think we could put in our arsenal is this on the Story County side? I'm thinking it is just from
I
I'm not
think this is in Story County, yes.
so
This particular thing, yes.
yeah, so that would have required some type of working in the floodplain permit, which they did.
Well, it was an emergency, so they
Yeah,
were there already on. They had already been working over the weekend after the Friday.
yeah. But even after the fact, they should have been filing something. So
Yeah,
um
but I think, and I don't know if they, look, we can't speculate. We don't know what happened there, why they thought that that was a good idea. But we do need to get something done about that. Because, like I said, the whole idea of how things flood upstream is based on the river configuration in this area. And that's what the Narrows work has shown. So it affects Sparks, it affects county property and city property upstream. So they can't just do anything they want there. And that wasn't a Truckee River emergency. That was a emergency of all these side trips going kind of came loose. And it wasn't just that one. There was some around Tum Wharf that were very bad too. Uh, they received a lot of sediment uh, on the road and things like that near Tum Wharf. So the cell was up in that area as well.
yeah, so like I said, we would be happy to have further discussions with you and work on what everybody can do to
Yeah,
participate.
we can talk offline,
Yeah.
but we do need to get somebody out there probably by the same time period to deal with that and just move that out of the channel. It's not a gigantic job, but it's unfortunate somebody thought that that was a good idea. Like maybe, oh, we'll protect the abutment or something. I don't know what they were thinking, but not a good idea. Any other questions? Okay, well, this is what we're going to keep working on this. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Rob and Ross, you probably should, kind of put this in your feather in your ball cap because, when I start talking about 3 feet of extra water and maybe 2 feet during a flood, there's going to be interest with your constituencies there and Sparks for sure.
Definitely in our industrial area. But we already had to handle also the stuff that happened over at Tumwater. So
Yeah,
that was fun.
yeah, they're real fun. Okay, any other questions? All right, thanks. I'll go to the next one here. Um, Go ahead, John.
Oh, we'll end item 7 and move on to item 8, which is a presentation on the
There was a
oh,
public comment on that last one. Can we address that?
oh, yes. If there's a public comment, we can do that. Let's jump into the
Marisa had a public comment.
oh,
Okay. Hi, Marisa Ernst here. That's what you presented here, that debris flow and the consequences are quite amazing. So I wondered, do you expect that such events are going to happen again in the future? And will it affect how you plan for such future events? And does that have any budgeting consequences for for your agency?
I believe I can't answer those questions, but if you would call me offline, I would be happy to answer all those questions.
Okay.
Because it's a public meeting. I can't reply. All I'm supposed to say is thank you, but I wanted to also give you the opportunity to ask me those questions for real.
Thank you very much. I will do so.
All right. Thank you, Marissa.
okay. With that, we'll move on to item 8, which is an update on the Wadsworth pedestrian bridge and the contract that you have there.
Okay. Yeah, this one has been going on all summer. And you can see there where they're putting the bridge into place. That was the scary part. You want to make sure that everything lines up, and it did. And so that was a big deal. But let me just kind of go through where we're at with this construction. Like I said, it's turning, it's a very tight window because we want to do it while school's out for the children. So let me go ahead and do that. The progress so far, pre-construction and setup occurred prior to June 10th. There was quite a bit of work on there, just getting the area ready so they could really hit the ground running on June 10th. That's when school got out. The old bridge was removed on June 10th and was completely done by June 12th. So they really got it out of there quick. They started work on the abutments and the bank armoring to provide landing spot for the bridge. June 10th to July 3rd, footings were poured on June 15th. So they had everything in place by around, dried out and ready to go, probably around uh, as quickly as possible. The bridge was delivered July 9th. The abutment pouring was completed right about that time. So they were actually working the abutment as well. There was a lot of testing that's being done. We have an engineer. We have JUB Engineering is our representative, and then we also have CME doing a lot of testing. They're testing the concrete. They're testing compaction. They're testing materials. They're testing even the bolts. So we're really trying to be careful here on what we're doing as we go through this. Uh, so. Uh, so they've done inspections on the deck, rebar, ramp, compaction, bridge connections. All that's been completed. The bridge deck was completed on July 23rd. The bridge was actually set in place over the weekend on July 18th and 19th because that's the only time they could get the large crane out there. So they had to work the weekend. So we got the deck. The deck is done. The water line on the bottom of the bridge is in. And so that's kind of where we're at now. The approach on the west side is completely done. I was out there yesterday. Honestly, from the west side, you could start using the bridge tomorrow from the west side. The problem is the east side. So just wanted to talk about that. The west side mat rebar is on 731, and that's some minor issues. The wall backfill is scheduled for 8/4. That's on the east side. The ADA ramp is scheduled. The pour is scheduled for, I mean, I'm sorry, 9/4, or yeah, 8/4 and 8/7. The bridge painting, we haven't scheduled yet. The finish electrical, they haven't scheduled. Hand railing, they haven't scheduled, although these are kind of finish up jobs they will do as they're doing these other things. And then we have demob. So that's what we have left to do. So this is just a field report, and there's many of these, but just an example of some of the stuff they're doing, like looking under the bridge, they're testing the bolt, making sure they're the right tensions, because there's several places as you go along the bridge where there's like 9 bolts that are 8 bolts, 4 on each side, that hold that bridge together. There's four, it came in 4 plates or 4 sections. So those had to be tested. Where it sits on the abutment, that's bolted down as well. Those are all tested. So anyways, lots of testing on this thing. So the budget and timeline, the budget bid is largely intact. The bid number is, there have been some small change orders. There was some work over here on the east side with this homeowner. We were very close to them, and we tried to just make it a little bit better for them. So that ended up having a little bit of landscaping work that we're paying for. We had to increase the concrete on the abutments because the bridge sizing weight wasn't correct earlier on. So we decided to go ahead and eat that, and it was like $18,000. There's a few other little changes, but the total for all changes so far constitutes less than 3% of the total of the budget of the bid. The schedule is very tight and close. The key will be the ADA ramp over here on this east side. I looked at that. They were actually putting in the forms yesterday on that. That needs to be done on 8/7 to get this done by the time school comes back in, which is on the 10th. So it's going to be very tight. Maybe the first few days they will have to have an escort as they demob this. A lot of this stuff is actually all out now. The west side actually looks like almost a finished bridge, except for we have that across there. The other thing, let's see, we do, if that thing goes in August 7th, we do expect around August 10th we could, have an escort for a while they demob and finish off things like the electrical. So we're very close on schedule. Normally the school has been starting around August 20th. It's starting at August 10th this year. So, wonderful timing for us. Anyways, so with that, are there any questions about what's going on with the bridge? Mostly the county is interested in this because they will have to take this back. So I've been working closely with the county on this, the county engineering, because it is a county bridge. At the end of the day, we will be giving it back to the county. All right, well, that's all I have on that.
Thank you, George, for the update on that one. Good information. We'll close that item and move on to item 9, a review and discussion of the Truckee River Flood Management Authority Board of Directors meetings agenda. I believe that's you, Mike.
Thank you very much. There's not much to report there. We will have a meeting on the 14th of this month. The three major agenda items are going to be substantially similar to what you heard today. There may be some extended conversation, about the debris flow issue and how to move forward with that. But otherwise, as we anticipate the agenda now, that's what it will look like.
Thank you, Mike. With that, any other comments or questions from the committee? Hearing none, we'll move forward to our last item, public comment, and open it up for public comment. Marty, do we have any comments?
Seeing none.
All right. That being said, we will adjourn the meeting at 10:51. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.